The preventer isn't on.
We arrived here yesterday afternoon, and the anchorage was quite calm and wasn't a lot of wind, and we knew it was going to build up overnight, and it did. Yesterday afternoon it got up to about 25 knots, and it's literally stayed like that all night and this morning. This morning's a little bit worse. It's supposed to get up to about 30 knots this afternoon, but it's a beautiful anchorage, lovely sandy beach, nothing here at all. But the good news is that it's very sheltered from the swell and the waves. So yes, we've got the wind, but we don't have any movement on the boat. So we've got about 50 metres of chain out. We're in 9 metres of water, lovely sandy bottom, and by all accounts the holding here is fantastic, and I have to say overnight we've not budged an inch. What do you do when you live aboard on a boat and it's gusting 30 knots outside and you're stuck in an anchorage? Well, not really stuck, but...
You don't go outside, that's what you do.
No, so the first thing you do is you cook your dinner. And tonight, I think, are we having a curry?
No, we're having a tray bake.
We're having a tray bake.
Yeah, so peppers, sweet potato, chicken, tomatoey sauce, a bit of bacon in it as well. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing for the night. Well, I'm put it in there. So I've got sweet potato, I've got carrots cooking just to soften them up. I've got red pepper, yellow pepper, green pepper, tomato, mushroom. I would have put onion, but we haven't got an onion for some strange reason. Very unusual. I've got some tomato puree, which has got fresh tomato in it as well, and chicken, and then a bit of bacon, which is very precious to us. We don't get it very often. So yeah, I'm going to mix it all up, stick it in the oven, leave it in there for half an hour, and because everything's pre-cooked, including the chicken and the potato, it'll only take half an hour. So I've got the sweet potatoes and carrot mix, and I'm going to add it to the peppers, the tomato, the mushroom, and the tomato puree and things I'll add a little bit later because they're still frozen. What are you doing today?
We're going to put the water maker on, and every now and again, ever so often, the piston that runs the for the pressure dries out a little bit, and we've been told to put a little bit of glycerine on it, which just helps the seals to seal. So I'm going to do that now, but it's not easy to get to, it's quite awkward. So I've got a mirror, I've got the glycerine, which is...
Can't see it in the sunlight, but...
So I'm just going to put it on with a brush. You can just see the piston. Yeah?
Yep.
So that should just help to lubricate it, really.
So meanwhile, obviously we've got a very windy day, and these are the types of jobs we do. As again, cooking, trying to just make the place look tidy and ready for the next sail, to be honest. I've got the anchor alarm on.
Yeah, it's on there.
It's in the daylight. So you can't really see it very well, but anchor alarm on because it's so windy, you just daren't leave it really. So what other jobs are we doing today?
Yep, so I'm going to put the water maker on. Generally, when we first start it, we have to run it through for about 10 minutes. So turn the tap from tank to tap. And now switch the water maker on.
Hopefully water will come out. We do have problems sometimes if air gets into the system. Once we've been sailing, once the sea's been a little bit rough or there've been quite a lot of bubbles in the water. Yay! So this is the excess water that we will run through, and it takes about 10 minutes for it to clear of salt. We then taste it and do a bit of a test. So it's a parts per million test to make sure it's clean water, and then we fill our tanks.
So this is a Catadin 160E water maker. It's on a 12 volt system, so we can run it during the day when the sun's high. It takes about 18 amps to run, so it's not actually that thirsty. So the water maker's been running now for a few minutes, and it's time to test the water. So what we do is we test it with a parts per million meter. The book actually says that you should get it below 500 parts per million. We try and get it below 300 just to be on the safe side. So we've got a reading of 267, 268, and that for us is okay. So we can now usually do a taste test as well.
And if it collapses on the floor and dies, I know not to use the water.
It doesn't taste salty. It's got no other aftertaste at all, so it's ready to go.
Another job when we're at anchor. Bit of cleaning, chrome polishing, just generally keeping the boat in good nick, having a good old look around, make sure all the fixtures and fittings are intact and clean and working. So what we've learned while we're sailing is to use flasks. So we fill up the kettle completely full and then just fill up our great flasks. Using them just makes it a little bit safer, a little bit easier to get hot drinks when you're sailing, and sometimes, as you know, the sea can be just so horrendous. The last thing you want to come down and do is boil the kettle and burn yourself. So yeah, another little tip. So you can tell it's our day off, can't you?
Pancakes.
Pancakes with?
Chocolate spread and banana.
Yeah.
Marvellous.
What's the plan tomorrow then?
The plan tomorrow is that we go out early, leave early, and head up to Koufinisi. There is an anchorage at the side of the town quay, which seems to be okay in Meltemi, and being as the prevailing wind is coming same direction, we're going to go in there. Because we've got sort of 30 knots coming in on Wednesday, so hopefully. But we're not going on the quay because apparently they're charging €39 for our sort of size boat.
Yeah, we don't want to pay that,
So
do
I'm
we?
not paying that. Just leaving Amorgos. Can't remember the name of the bay, but we'll stick it on the screen somewhere. Early start this morning. I've no idea what time it is. It must be about 7 o'clock, is it?
No. Early.
Is it? Because I want to get to Koufinisi before, well, in plenty of time really to check in, get some provisions and go ashore for a little bit.
Here, Ross, you mean? Nothing to do with provisions.
Yeah. Sea state's supposed to be a little bit lumpy this morning. We haven't got a lot of wind, but from yesterday I think it's going to be a bit choppy.
You look a bit hot there.
I'm knackered now.
Why, what have you been doing?
Oh, it's your job to put the sails up. I've had to do it this
Oh,
morning.
and pull the anchor up as well?
I pulled the anchor.
That's what I mean, so I do the whole lot myself.
I've done it all this morning.
Oh my God, I don't know how you cope.
No, I sat there on the
You need to sit down now, have a
I
rest.
need to lie down.
Oh, but we're sailing. We've only had 27 minutes on the engine. We've got about 10 knots of wind. Wind's coming from about 40 degrees at the moment. We're not quite on track, but en route. We've only got about 16 miles to go, but we think we're going to end up tacking anyway because there's an island in front of us and the wind's coming from, yeah, the wrong angle.
Okay. So a very gentle sail this morning. We haven't got too much wind. We've got between, well, 6 and 10 knots, but very rarely is it 10. So we're just bobbing along at about 3 to 4 knots. which is fine for us. Full sails up. Everything's spot on really. Bit of a swell, but not too much. And Koufinisi in the background.
Well, we made it to Koufinisi. We're one side of the harbour, and as you can see, we're the only boat out there. Nice gentle sail today, almost too gentle really as the wind died on us. And we're walking towards the little port part to take our transit log and just see if we can see anybody that will stamp it for us. Can't imagine there'll be anybody here, but let's give it a go. We can smell food.
Yeah.
Lead us to the food. How's Koufinisi?
Well, it's let me down because they don't have any euros.
Because?
It's all shut.
Yeah, it's a bit early in the season, isn't it?
It is. They're all getting things ready and they're all doing lots of work. But unfortunately, they're not. There's one supermarket open, which got some nice bananas. So we're overlooking the harbour at Koufinisi, and we've actually tried to check in and there is nobody around. So that won't happen here. But the village or the town is so lovely, isn't it?
Oh, it's beautiful.
The buildings are all nice and yeah, all well cared for. The roads are amazing. So we anchored in 4 metres on a nice bed of sand.
There is a sign that says to watch out for the seagrass.
Posidonia.
And to tie on to the mooring buoys if you can. But of course we didn't see the sign till we'd actually dropped anchor, but we are nowhere near the seagrass, fortunately. As you can see, there are a few buoys, and they did say we could tie off on one of the buoys, but none of them looked particularly...
I can't even see a concrete block.
No, none of them looked particularly well put in, so we'd be a bit reluctant to do that, especially coming into 30-knot winds, which we're expecting. But what a pretty town. All the buildings are painted beautifully, they've got shops and things all being done up. Yeah, plenty of buoys. There looks like a rope underneath. Watch, there's one in front of you. Hull on this side looks gorgeous, somebody's cleaned it. Pity about the fenders though, they got battered in Kalymnos when we were there. So I'm going to try and sort them out tomorrow.
So we had a reasonable night in here last night. There was a bit of a swell that continued all night, but nothing that would stop you sleeping. The wind dropped to virtually nothing, so woken this morning about 6:30 by the Blue Star ferry that came in, very close to the back of the boat, but I guess they haven't got much room to manoeuvre. Pretty calm in the anchorage, but out at sea it looks a little bit on the rough side. But here in the anchorage, yeah, it's pretty calm today.
I do believe we have a fish on for the first time this year. It could be a seagull, it could be a plastic bag. What?
Yeah, it's gone.
Wash day on earlier. Probably once a week we put the washing machine on so we don't overdo it. It's such a great feeling to have clean bedding and towels, and yeah, great. Yeah, we're going to go ashore in a minute. We're just waiting for the next lot of washing to finish, waiting for the bread to finish, and then we're going to go ashore and go and have a walk because it looks stunning. Really lovely scenery. Well, we've come ashore in Naxos. We're on the southern tip of the island. Lovely little bay, absolutely beautiful. Fortunately the weather's nice too.
So this is something to do with the military. It's all in Greek, so we can't read it. Translate. Yeah, we followed the road and it kind of went into nowhere, up the hill and over the top. And not in the direction we wanted to go over to the taverna, so we're going to go back and we're going to try and walk across the beach, which will be fun. So that was a bit of a shock when we came around the corner. There's another yacht in the anchorage.